Hi, everybody. Welcome to another edition of Rounding the Bases podcast. I'm Coach Coons along with Coach Porter, and we're here to give you some insight into baseball and softball recruiting, baseball and softball happenings. If you have something you want to talk to us about, uh, just pop us a line. We'd also put you right on our podcast so we can talk to you too. Uh, and we're working on that as we speak. But, Coach, take it away. What would you like to talk about tonight? What was the topic you thought?
Well, first of all, what an exciting time for the game, right? For baseball. Next couple of days, we're getting into the playoffs. Still have some, kind of unfinished business tomorrow with the Mets and the Braves. Watch baseball. Watch, this next month is going to be really, really exciting. So watch as
Did
many
you
games as you can.
did you hear that whole scenario?
It wild. It's
And
taken me a while to figure out exactly because the Mets
the Mets,
are in.
Braves, and Diamondbacks. It comes down to that. If because of today's games, the Mets and Braves have a doubleheader Monday.
Tomorrow at 1. Yeah.
Correct. The Diamondbacks are sitting there waiting. Whoever wins the first game tomorrow is automatically in.
Yeah.
It said. If the Mets win the first game, they're automatically in. If the Braves win the second game, they're in and the Diamondbacks are out. If the Braves win the first game, they're automatically in. If the Mets win the second game, they're also in and the Diamondbacks are out.
Yeah.
Then it was if somebody sweeps, they are in
The
and
Diamondbacks need somebody to sweep.
the Diamondbacks need somebody to sweep to get in. Yes. That's
Either
what
team. Either
either
team.
either team has
It's
to sweep for the Diamondbacks to get in.
yeah, what other sport there is none after 162 games.
None.
We get to this. It's awesome. So this is a great
None.
time. Eat this up. Watch as many of these games as you possibly can over the next month, and it's
Right.
just it's fun. But tonight, I was talking to Coach Coons about just talking about some of the physical tools that when we evaluate a player, okay, for a head in the count, when we evaluate a player, what are some things that we're looking for as talent evaluators that we can sell to um, that we can sell to college coaches.
Right.
Okay, so that's something that's really important. And it's dawned on me. I worked a big showcase last weekend for one of my close friends who's an MLB scout, and great showcase, mostly invite only, lots of talent. And I'm sitting there going, we talk about the academic end, which is crazy important. We talk about the character end. We talk about what college coaches are looking for. But what are the things that we see in players that we can sell to college coaches? What are we looking for? What are we, because, at the end of the day, we have to we have to sell kids. Okay, we have to sell kids to colleges, right, that actually have the ability to play.
Correct.
Okay,
Because
now
it's our reputation as
that's
well.
right. Now, are there some positions in baseball? Can we send a extra catcher to a team? Sure. The if you're a catcher, there's always a need to catch bullpens. Always. There's always a need for someone to catch in between innings. There's always a need for an extra guy in an inner squad. And anybody that's been around the college or pro game knows, like, if you can handle a pitcher, even if you can't hit, even if you can't, whatever, if you can receive it a little bit, there's some guys that'll let you hang around. You're
Right.
probably not going to get a scholarship or anything like that, and you may never ever play at the college level. But if you can handle pitchers and you're willing to work hard, you will have an opportunity to at least get on a roster. That's probably not what guys want to hear, but I know some really good coaches who were catchers who could handle pitchers, didn't really get to play a lot, but they practiced all the time as a catcher. So that's one of those positions. Can you play? Are especially at the lower levels, and I don't mean lower levels, but I mean non-power five, non-D1, your D2s, D3s, NAIs, JUCOs. Are they always looking for the 14th or 15th pitcher on the staff? Absolutely. Do you need inter squad arms? Absolutely. So do some colleges recruit and use their baseball program or their athletics program in general as an extra admissions program? Absolutely. So
Uh,
there are places that are numbers driven,
oh yeah.
and a couple of positions, a pitcher or a catcher, especially in the fall, or just getting live at bats off of somebody. Maybe you're a kid that can spin it a little bit. Well, guess what? That coach might say, "Hey, look, you're going to throw to these. You're going to throw to our hitters on Wednesdays, and you're going to spin it, and it's going to be breaking ball practice or junk.
Correct.
We used to call them junk pens. Just throw it up there, and there's your opportunity, to guys. So it, you've got to really, you've got to really want it. And a couple of things that I see at the high school level that's a little bit different than what I saw in the college level. So I coached college baseball for 20 years. I've coached high school baseball for 3. Here's what I've learned. At the college level, everybody, you know, everybody wants it. Most of the guys want it. There's some guys that are there just to be there. Yeah. It's unfortunate, but that's in every clubhouse. I mean, there's just some guys that just aren't into it as much as others, right? But the majority of the guys are still hanging on that dream to play pro ball. And my thing to them was, work like it. Work like you want to. Fine. If you want to play pro baseball, that benefits me as your coach. Why? You should have a work ethic that's second to none, high character, take care of your academics. You shouldn't be a problem. And because you work so hard, you're going to become a better player, and it's going to help us win ball games. I
Right.
mean, that's just fact.
And
So
if
I was like, more power to you.
the longer you can hang around too, that's the key. I mean, I know some kids that played in college, were on a college team, didn't play a lot, but ended up being bullpen catchers for minor league baseball teams, making a salary per game to
Yeah.
go down and just catch pitchers in the bullpen.
Yeah.
They were
Absolutely.
not drafted, but hey, whatever it was, I don't know what. We'll give you $100 a game. Can you just warm up our pitchers? So they
Yeah.
had their starting catcher in here, but then they had that's all they did, warm up pitchers in the bullpen.
Yeah. So
I mean, there's always
there's
opportunities.
always an opportunity, and there's a place if you're willing to stick it out and go. And that's the thing that and I'll go back to high school. A lot of times kids don't quite understand, and it's our job to teach them, but don't quite understand exactly what it takes to get to the next level. Whether you're a small school, high school, big school, whatever,
And
you get some.
especially because there's only 6 to 7% of you are going to play in college.
Yeah.
That's across the board.
Yeah.
Out of the hundreds of thousands of high school athletes playing baseball, softball, it's over.
And you could be a really, really good high school player and not get an opportunity. Like, I'm hitting 400 and I'm doing this and I'm not getting any looks. Well, a lot of it depends on the competition you're playing, and there's a lot that goes into it. But high school kids, and it's do you really, really understand what it takes to get to the next level? And no, you shouldn't understand. You've never been through it before. That's why it's our job. That's why we can help you. Do you really understand that it takes what it takes, right? And I know that's coach speak, but
Right.
It's yeah, and someone's always gaining on you. In high school, look, let's face it. There's high school coaches are going to keep a kid around, maybe that doesn't have the work ethic, but 75% of his work ethic is is you know what I mean, and
Oh
plus
yeah.
his
Yeah.
talent. You get what you get in high school, right? So I think people have to understand that as well. But this is where we come in. All right. This is where we come in, and we want to help you. We want to give you a free consultation and just to help you understand exactly what we're talking about. The other part is this: as I'm sitting there in the stands or I'm evaluating kids, what tools can we sell to college coaches, right? In a metrics
Right.
driven world,
What do you bring to the
what
table?
what are you bringing to the table? And here's a conversation I had with a coach yesterday. I talked to a Division II coach yesterday for 36 minutes about a player. And this is a player that I told not to go to showcases. Don't go. Okay? Why? Because this player is a baller. He's a ball player. He is not a metric driven
Right.
player. But I will tell you this right now. And I told the coach, and these are the conversations we have with people because we've been there. I asked the coach point blank, do you want players that are going to help you win baseball games for the next 4 or 5 years? What do you think the coach said?
No question.
No question. Then I said, this guy's your guy. Because what happens is this. It's also our job to give you guidance. If you show up, if you're a center fielder and you show up at a showcase and you run a 7.41, okay, and you throw 79 from the outfield, okay, and there's not a lot of life on the ball when it hits the ground. Yeah, we watch it when it hits the ground and how it takes off and all that stuff. And your actions aren't really great either, by the way. And then they go test your bat speed and it's like 81. Well, do you
You're not
think you
you're
got
not
your
going to be
foot in the
high up
door?
on the list.
Uh-uh. However, that same kid has some instincts, right? He reads swings and he's running down balls in the gaps because he's getting good jumps,
Doesn't strike out a lot.
right? Doesn't strike out a lot. Goes 3 for 4 in a game against a guy throwing pretty hard because he can actually time a pitch, which in all this metric stuff, we don't talk about that. We don't ever talk about because look, you can have uh, exit velo of 100 miles an hour. If you can't time a pitch, you got no shot now. You
Right.
got some bat speed. Can you be fooled a little bit more than other guys? Of course. But this kid can time it up a little bit. And, he hits 3 line drive, 1 hop singles to outfielders, gets on, sees that the pitcher, right, pitches to the plate on C every single time, right? If you guys use ABC or 1, 2, 3 or UCLA at first base when you're timing the play, it's like he throws on C every time and he steals 2 bags, right? Um, and makes the routine play 100% of the time. That kid's going to help you win ball games. So there's
Right.
a context here. What's the best way to get you recruited? That's what we're looking for.
And
Okay.
that's what we'll help with.
And
That's
that's
what
what we're going to help you with.
we'll advise, and ultimately it's your decision. Hey, I know what true story. I know a former major league scout. He was the lead scout for a team that is going to be fighting for a playoff spot. And then he went to another team that is in the playoffs out on the West Coast. And what got him out of scouting was metrics, because they did not want him going out and seeing a lot of kids because they could do it with their computer.
Yeah.
So, are metrics important? Yeah, metrics are important. Are metrics important for you? Well, there's a lot of other tangibles, like you're saying, that could make you be on that roster. And let's face it, rosters sizes are coming down, both baseball, softball. The COVID thing is gone. Roster size is coming down because of the scholarship limit. I talked to 3 Division I coaches this past week. What are you looking for? What are you needing? Well, we're already recruiting 26s. They're already into 26. They're ready to finish that up. Then they'll be looking at next year 27s. So, to go piggyback off what you're saying is, we could advise you what's your strength, but also don't ever think it's too early to start this,
Yeah.
because if you're 25, chances are there's not. I mean, there's schools out there still looking. There's no doubt about that. But maybe it's not the school you're looking at.
It,
Unless you're that A++ player that can hit a softball a mile, or do a steal base, or a baseball player that can do this, get to they're into 26s. That's not everybody, but that's a lot.
yeah. And the other part of it is you're going, like, you can't gauge yourself as a player, from my perspective, unless you're gauging yourself against good competition. It's no different than a team, and you're like, well, that is that team very good? Well, they're playing the worst competition. How good are you really? So an example would be at this showcase. I have a freshman catcher, and I said, you need to go to this showcase. And this kid goes. He's the youngest kid on the field, and he's out there just grinding it out
Right.
and figuring it out. And he walks away and goes, in 3 years, I'm going to look like this guy, or I'm going to look like this
All
guy.
you got to do is get your name on a list.
Yeah, and as a coach, if I were a college recruiter, of course I'm not going to recruit the kid right now, but I'm going, that kid didn't have any fear. That's the other part of it. So
Right.
then there's your classic showcase player. So if we were talking to one of you, and you ran a 6.760, maybe your stats aren't great. You ran a 6.760. You could throw it out of the ballpark. I'm looking at your video, and I can see the arm speed. I can see, how your body works. You've got some bat speed. Maybe you can hit a BP fastball. Go. Get your foot in the door. I look, I've been to showcases and seen kids who look really, really good in the workout portion and really bad in game, and then vice versa. And
Right.
then I've coached in college players who I recruited, and I'm like, this kid's going to be good. And they were horrible practice players. I'm not talking about effort. They were horrible in practice, and it buried them on the depth chart. And then we end up having to put them in, and then they just go off and hit like 400. And you're like, so a lot of this is mental, right? Because I'm a believer that if you have the tools, right, they should transition to a game at some point. And a
Right.
lot of that would be in between the ears, confidence. Hey, your guys that are gamers, grinders, overachievers, that don't have the metrics, those guys are confident. They work hard, they're confident, and they're competent, and they know how to play the game. But confidence takes you to the next level. So that's just kind of some insights, um, that we have into this. And look, when I go watch kids, when you're in a workout, what's going to set you apart? Well, how you move, your speed, obviously, right? How you throw the ball, arm strength. If we're out there throwing from every single position, I'm looking for guys that can catch it and throw it with
Right.
speed, skill, and grace, right? I'm looking for good
I want you
feet.
to warm up. How you warm up? It goes right to
Yeah,
that.
yeah, absolutely. Hitting in a BP session, Look, I'm looking for balance and bat speed. I'm looking for balance, bat speed. Are you hitting the baseball consistently with backspin somewhere? Even if you're early, somewhere. And then when you get in the game, let's see if these tools translate with your approach and what you're looking for. Are you jumping on fastballs early? Because look, you're at a showcase. The guy on the mound's probably going to throw you a fastball the first pitch as hard as he can, especially if there's a bunch of radar guns, right? You're getting up there and letting it loose,
That's right.
So anyway, those are some things.
Yeah, send us
And
your films. You can head an account recruiting LLC at gmail.com or go to our website. You can see our site, but send us your films. There's no obligation. We'll get back to you. Get a film, some of your speed, a phone number. We'll text you. We won't even call you until we text you to see if that's okay, and we'll let you know. You know
yeah,
that's all we're looking to do. But tell all question, Coach. Who's coming out of the American League and the National League for the World Series this year?
I'm gonna go with Cleveland in the AL. There's just something about that team and the turnaround. Um, and then in the NL, I'm gonna go with the Dodgers.
San Diego's going to be tough, I think, out there.
Yeah, they are. I just kind of feel like the Dodgers got a run in them here.
Yeah,
However, don't discount this. I'm telling you right now. The teams that always have to play down to the wire. Atlanta, New York, Arizona, like Atlanta gets through tomorrow.
then they
They're
play.
hot. They're
Yeah,
hot. They're already in the. Hey, look, Atlanta's already in the playoffs. They're
right,
already in the plus, meaning tomorrow's the playoffs. Tomorrow isn't the regular season, right? It
right.
is, but it isn't. Tomorrow is game 161 and 162, but to them, it's the playoffs. It's
Correct.
do or die. So I'm telling you, teams that make these runs and don't have breaks. Here's as a coach, as a manager, when you're playing hot and you've got 3 or 4 days off, those teams remember those really good Tigers. Now that
Yep.
Detroit, but I would say I'm gonna throw a little curveball and say Cleveland, okay, and I'm gonna go with the Dodgers.
Yeah,
It's gonna be a little different.
I'm thinking Dodgers, and I'm also, this time of year, if you got pitching, let's face it, Dodgers got hitting.
Yeah,
You got Otani, you got Betts, you got Freeman, you got guys who can hit. You have pitching. The same on the other side, you got the Yankees over there. You got Soto, you got Judge. Stanton's starting to hit again. Can the pitching hold up?
yeah,
That's if it does in a perfect world, I think it's probably Yankees Dodgers,
which would be
which
which would
would
be good. But I'm gonna tell you right now, the Braves just may the Braves just may be absolutely because they've got to go right into like Tuesday, right? The winner goes.
the
I mean,
winner they played Monday. The winner plays Tuesday, or
so
the
there's something to be said. I'm
yeah.
telling you, there's something to be said about these teams who essentially have had to fight to get in, who are already in the playoffs.
See, and
I'm telling you,
this goes back to a podcast we had a while ago. Why isn't there professional softball league?
there should be.
How awesome would that be with the playoffs and everything like this?
Well, you could stagger it and have them play. You know, they ought to play it like in the winter,
Right.
like January, Feb. You know what I mean? So
They have a women's professional football league. They have WNBA. Come on, let's get somebody out there to start a professional women's softball league with the divisions all across the U.S. Why not? Look at the
yeah,
excitement during the playoffs. when you're
in
watching it on
baseball.
TV. I mean, it's amazing. But we're here for you guys. I mean,
Yep.
it's like Coach Porter said, you get us a film, you text us a film, you can do whatever you want to do. We will text you back. In fact, I got a softball player, like I was telling you earlier, I've got to text her back to get a film just for an evaluation. They contacted us, and we got to do that. But we're here to help you. There's so much competition out there trying to get into the college for that spot. We're trying to give you an edge. That's what we're doing. So take a look at us at headingaccountrecruiting.com. See if we can help you out. But at least it's free. Get an evaluation out of it.
Get your foot in the door.
We'll tell you where you are. We're not going to hound you and try to sell you this and this and this and that. No, not our style. We're here to help. If you want us to pay us to help you at that point, we can do that, certainly. But we'd like to help you with a free evaluation and go that route.
Absolutely.
But we will see you next week. I'm sure we'll have lots of playoff action to talk about. We'll have some more recruiting updates going on because there's a live period right now for Division I to go out. It's fall time. So we'll try and have an update there. I'll call a couple of coaches that I know and try to get some more insight to what's going on, and then we'll share that with you next week. But feel free to email us, text us. We're looking forward to it. We'll see you then.
Have a great week.